Okay, so the next step, I got the all of the transom replaced, the stringers are replaced, new floor in the boat. Structurally, the boat has been renewed. There is now no rotten wood left in my boat that the guy had listed for $500. So the outside of the boat is the next step. I was originally hoping that I could just clean up the gel coat, buff it, everything else. Started looking at it more closely and realized it had a whole series of metal snaps on it from the original canvas top, or some canvas top. I didn't have the canvas top, but the snaps were there. The screws were rusting. They had stained the gel coat. There were little scratches and dings. Hey, the boat was around since 1969. It's been through a couple of wars, I think. From what I could tell, it's been in 2 different countries at least. So it's been around and it's showing its wear. So I removed all the snaps, started filling the holes, and realized, you know what, I'm going to need to paint this thing. So I went through. I do have a fair bit of bodywork experience on cars, but anyway, so I went through, sealed all the holes up with a thickened resin mixture, sealed them up, used some waterproof body filler, smoothed them all out, got it looking nice and smooth, went underneath and fixed those stupid screw holes in the bottom of the boat, ground them out down, put some fiberglass in, ferreted it all out, smoothed it out, got all that fixed, sanded down the whole boat with some, I think it was like 300 grit paper, got it looking nice and smooth, and then I decided to paint it. So I did some research into paint, and even though I've sprayed a lot of cars and things like that before, I don't have a spray booth. I didn't have a good place to do any spraying, so I knew that was out. I wanted a nice shiny finish. A lot of people on boats, if you do research on forums, they use what they call the roll and tip method. You roll the paint on, leaves bubbles, you go along with the tip of a soft brush, smooth out the bubbles. I've tried that before, never been happy with it. It works, but you know what? I wanted more like a spray finish. I was on a boating forum. One of the other guys mentioned to me something called the roll and roll method. So I looked into that, thought I would try it, and guess what? It works. So the paint I used was Interlux Brightside paint, white on the top, a dark blue on the bottom. Used the Interlux primer underneath, the white primer on top, gray on the bottom part of the boat. I thinned the paint with the Interlux 333 brushing thinner fluid, or whatever they call it. But basically it's a thinner made for that paint. It slows the dry time slightly, works well for brushing. Use the instructions that they come with, and then I painted it. So what I use is a medium density roller like you'd buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or hardware store that you use for trim or whatever. Use that and paint the boat with that. Now you put the paint on fairly thin, not very thick paint in either, the consistency. You don't want it to run, so you don't put it on very thick. You put it on, when you first put it on, it creates a million little bubbles in it and looks horrible. What you do is you keep painting, and then you paint until the roller is starting to feel kind of almost dry, tacky. You do some experimenting, it'll work. And then you go, once the paint has sat there for just a little bit and the bubbles all form, you go over it very gently with the roller, with your kind of tacky roller, and amazingly, it just breaks the bubbles. If you go through and it creates more bubbles, you haven't left it long enough. Just give it a little more time, go over that area again with the roller. Eventually, you'll realize, you'll get to the point where it will pop the little bubbles, and it just settles down into an amazing shine that looks almost as shiny as a spray paint. I painted the whole boat like that, and it worked very, very well. 2 coats of white on top, 2 coats of dark blue on the bottom part. Let it harden, cure for a couple of days. I did mine in the winter. I have a heated garage, but it took a few days for it to cure properly. I had to keep the furnace going for a while until it dried. But you know what? The results were good, and I'm very happy with it. And my next boat, I'll use the same method to do it.